Hi everyone, welcome to CTL's Education Professional Development Series. I'm Stephanie Shea, the Marketing Manager here at CTL, and I'm joined by Walter Germer, Technical Specialist. For those of you who might not be familiar with us, we've been here in Portland for over 26 years. We provide IT solutions to education and government, and we are a Google for Education partner, specializing in rugged Chromebooks, laptops, convertibles, two-in-ones, and tablets that are designed for K-12. We've been working with Google over the past 3 years and introduced a line of Chromebooks, and they've been recommended by PC Magazine as the best choice for Chromebooks in education. And today's webinar is going to be the Introduction to Netop Vision Classroom Management, and our presenter is Dean Johnson. He's the Senior Support Engineer at Netop. But before we get going, I'll just quickly review the interface so everyone knows how to participate. Hopefully you see something similar to this on your screen. You're listening in using your computer speaker system by default, but if you'd like to join over the phone, just select telephone in the audio pane. I think that's showed on the next slide. Yeah, right here. And the dial-in information will show up for you. You can also type questions here into the questions pane, and we're going to do a Q&A section after the presentation. However, Dean may stop and see if anyone has questions. We'll let him decide that, but just know that your questions will get answered. And I want to do a little poll. We have 2 brief polls to find out more about our audience today. I thought this one would be really interesting. If you're a teacher, let's see if this will show up for you. If you're a teacher with classroom, Chromebooks, or other laptops, let us know how much of a problem it is keeping your students on task when they're online. I thought this would be really fun. And already I'm seeing someone answering a big problem, which I would think, yeah, I would think that would be, and that's why you're attending today, but we'll give folks just another moment. Luckily, no one is saying it's unmanageable, so that's good. Okay, it looks like everybody has voted. I'm going to share the results here. So 25% somewhat of a problem, 75% a big problem. So this is going to be a useful webinar because that's what Netop Vision is helping to make less of a problem. So the next poll quickly is, how much experience do you have with Netop? Have you used it at all or tried it? And I'll give people just a minute on that one. We've got some varied results. It looks like about 90% people voted. That may be everyone who wants to vote right now, which is fine. Okay, I'm going to share the results of this one. So a lot of people with no experience, but we do have 26% with some and 5% with a lot, so maybe those people will have comments to add based on their experience. Okay, thanks so much, you guys, for answering that. I'd now like to go ahead and introduce Dean Johnson, Senior Support Engineer at Netop. He has over a decade of experience helping teachers and tech teams use Vision classroom management software. From Windows XP and computer labs to Chrome and carts, Dean has helped thousands of educators manage and make the most of classroom technology. So welcome, Dean. Are you here?
Yep, thank you.
Excellent. Let me hand the screen over to you. And we're looking forward to your presentation. Now you've seen that Keeping students' attention when they're online is a big problem for many of them.
So we're going to have a real quick, brief overview about the company a little bit from one of my colleagues, Pam Judge.
Hello, everyone. So just a few slides to set up some context. In designing Vision for Chromebooks, we really focused on designing it for teachers in the classroom, providing an easy-to-use tool that was effective for them and lightweight enough so that they could learn it quickly and put it to use instantly. It's for those of you who said that you knew Vision, it is based on our proven and tested Vision software that you often find in the Windows-based PC labs that are in many, many schools. And really the whole focus of Vision is to help teachers integrate technology into instruction. Realize that it's not easy when you have 30 kids who now have devices that give them access to the internet, among other things. And how do you integrate that technology into your instruction effectively while still keeping your teaching effective, efficient, and moving forward? So some of the things I hope you'll see as Dean takes you through the functions today is one of the most immediate, and I'll let him talk about the features, but that it does save you time. And because you have better visibility, it aids in your instruction. You can see the students who may not be progressing as fast as others and give those individualized help. Because you have more controls at your fingertips, it helps you stay in control of the class. And because of that visibility, it helps keep students on task and doing the work they're supposed to do. We'll come back to that slide at the end.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start showing the actual software. So it is all based around Google, the Google for Education domains. So basically you would do this the way you do any other app through that. So you deploy the teacher software to teacher accounts and the student software to the student accounts on your domain. And this is my looking at my apps for my teacher, so you can see that we have the teacher here.
Hey, Dean, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Oh, you're already doing it. I was going to see if you could make that full screen, but you just did it, so never mind. I'll get out of your way, thanks.
So this is the teacher interface, the very first screen that you see. So this is all integrated in with Google Classroom. So the first thing you do is you go and you sync with your Google Classrooms. So this will show any classrooms that you have assigned to your class. Sorry, I'm having a little trouble with this. Why will let me do this? All right, so here's my demo classroom that I'm going to show you the demo with. So this automatically, when I select it, pulls in all of the student accounts from Google Classroom. This is a huge advantage over our prior solutions and quite a few of the other solutions that I've seen, in that you don't have to do any extra setup. Since you already have your Google Classroom set up, it just pulls that information direct from them and then allows you to connect directly with your students. One of the other nice things about this is since it's all based on the account, the student's account, any settings or any configuration that you do will actually apply to other devices. So if they say lose their Chromebook and you need to give them a loaner, it'll actually automatically pick all that information up and then it'll find and connect to them. So once you've opened your class, you want to start your class. So this is when it starts the connection process. So what you see now is on the left. So the right student isn't available right now. It's just turned off, so we're not going to see that one today. But the left one is showing you what you see when you connect. Google or Vision for Chromebooks is a little unusual for classroom management in the Chromebook space. We run at the operating system level, which allows you to see the entire screen of the student. But one of Google's requirements for you to see the entire screen of the device is that you prompt them for permission to see that device. So that's what this is showing, is that they're connected. And when they're connected, any of the other functions will work. It's just the screen sharing part that they need to accept. We've had a number of people bring up that they'd like to make that prompt go away. We can't do that currently, but what we did do is we make the prompt return every half a second or so. So if you say no, it just prompts you again and keeps prompting you until you accept it. So the student basically can't use the device without accepting this. And until Google allows us to directly access that, that's what we're going to be able to do. So I just accepted on my student device, so you should be able to see that I have a web page pulled up on my machine, and you can see that it's updating every couple seconds. So the thumbnails in this thumbnail view intermittently update, so you're able to see kind of what the student's doing. If you want to zoom in on one of the students, you can go to the live view here, which is one of the features we have. So it'll take a second, connect, and then you're going to get more of a real-time view of what the student's doing and full screen. So you can actually see that I'm clicking on that, maybe typing in a different URL to go to. And then you're seeing this live as I'm doing it on the other device. And from here, you can take screenshots or do any other thing that you might want to do. The first major feature we have, besides the live view, is the demo feature. What the demo feature does is it shares your screen, the teacher screen, in as real-time a fashion as possible to the student devices. So this can be from any teacher's Chromebook, which isn't required. You can also do it on OS 10 or Windows. This for the machine I'm running on right now is actually a Windows machine. So anything that can run in Google extensions is able to do that. So when you start the demo, it takes a couple seconds. It asks you which screens you'd like to see. If you have multiple monitors on your thing, it'll automatically select them, pick them up. So you select the screen that you want to demo to the students, hit the share button, and then a couple seconds later, it shows up on all their screens. One of the nice things about that is it's blocking their keyboard and mouse while you're doing the demo. So again, this is kind of one of those things where you're trying to keep the students on task. So maybe you're giving instructions on how to do something or showing them how to use a piece of software. They're able to kind of follow along as you're doing it. And even in a place where you have a projector, that can be really useful because sometimes maybe a student can't see the screen or they're physically arranged in a way, or maybe, you know, it's just much more easy when they're actually able to see it directly on the device in front of them. And it keeps them on task because the device is locked, so they can't do anything else. The second major feature we have, which I'll show, is the ability to push URLs to students. I'm going to start up the live view so I can tap back over to it after I do it. So you can see that I actually have a website pulled up. So if I use the push URL, push a link thing, I can go in here and push, say, Google to, and it remembers the last 80 or so of these that you put in here. So then I hit push, and what you can see on the student screen is it's opened a new tab, so it doesn't interfere with anything they're already doing. It just opens a new tab and kind of guides them to where you're trying to push them to. So this can be a real advantage over using like bit.ly shorthand shortcuts and writing them off on the whiteboard and asking everyone to go to a URL. So this allows you to do that with just a couple of clicks. The next big feature we have is the attention screen. This is probably one of the single most useful features we have. What happens is when you click attention, it brings up a screen. It locks their keyboard and mouse and stops them from doing anything, and then asks them to pay attention to the teacher. So again, maybe you're not showing them something, but you want them to listen to you giving instructions at the beginning of class, or when you're in the middle of class, maybe switching from one subject or topic to another, you can get their attention from the device and then give them the instruction. And then you're able to stop that, and then it releases it back to what you were seeing before. The last big feature that Vision for Chromebooks has is the filter web. This allows you to filter all of the web so that they can't use it, or add a supplementary filter to what you're doing at the district level. So say, for example, you want to have them go to specific pages for, say, a research session or something. You can allow it, you can set up a filter so that it only allows certain pages. So you can say these 5 pages are ones you're able to go to. There's a new build coming out that's actually going to show you the 5 pages that you can go to. Unfortunately, I can't show that to you today. But so if I hit the filter web, it's going to immediately refresh the page, and what you can see on here in my live view is the blocking pages that you get. Again, this will be slightly different when the next version comes out sometime next week or so. It's actually going to show you the pages that you can go to in that version. And then if I actually go to a page that I know is allowed, so currently in my web filter I have the Google Productivity suite allowed through my whitelist here. So when I go there, it's actually going to work even though I have the filter running because Google Docs is one of the applications that I've allowed. And then if I try to go to a different URL, say maybe something like YouTube, which is a perennial favorite of kids everywhere, um, it's going to go back and show them that that's blocked. And again, with enough coming builds, you'll be able to see which sites you can go to. And these are just configured via text file currently. There's going to be another update shortly on how to do that.
Hi, Dean. I'm sorry to interrupt. Is
Yeah.
there a way you can turn your microphone up any more? It's still a little bit quiet on the sound
Oh,
quality.
I will do what I can, sure. This,
Okay, yeah. Let's
uh,
see.
so those are the major features that we have in our software. And one thing we did want to mention is that any of these functions, when you have multiple students, you can actually select the individualized student and apply just those features to your students. So you don't have to do like a blank screen or attention screen to the entire class or filter the web for everyone. You can do that to specific users. So I think I'm ready for questions. If people have some questions I'd like to ask.
Hi, Dean. Walter here. Got a couple questions for you right off the bat.
Sure.
Somebody asked if we're looking at the teacher's screen right there and the different students. Can they arrange those into, say, the room layout or any kind of order other
Yeah.
than how they come in?
So you can actually drag and drop them into different arrangements.
Okay. Sizes stays about the same, or they were wondering how how big, like a 30 student class, how many panels that would be.
So you get a scroll bar when you have larger classrooms, and the thumbnails stay about the same size.
Okay.
And any arrangement that you do is saved to your class. So next time you come on, you'll see the same arrangement.
Awesome.
And the next thing that is it also travels with you. So if you switch Chromebooks or switch from like a Windows device to a Chromebook at some point, all that configuration travels with you.
Awesome. Somebody had mentioned you showed how to share the teacher screen to all the kids. Can you share a student screen back to the students?
So that's one of the next few features we're going to be releasing.
Awesome. Awesome. Let me see. I got another one. They're coming in real quickly here. The other one, what happens if a student logs off to try to get around the monitoring software?
So you will notice that because the student will go blank here. So if you allow incognito mode or something, and they log in as and they access that, yes, it will block our ability to see them because everything is done via the user. But it's really common for students to, or for you to be able to turn that off. You can actually make them sign in.
So one of the things that hi, this is Pam, that I would add is if the student tries to get around the software, so for instance, you can see on this student one, there is a little message that lets them know that they're sharing it. If they decide to stop sharing, they are directed back to the prompt to share their screen, and they can't do anything except accept that. If they close the Chromebook and open it, it'll still be there. We've deliberately made it persistent so that if they try to get around it, they can't.
Okay, great. Another one came is so you are able to view the screen. Are you able to control the student's machine or any part of that? I guess that would be kind of like remote access on that question.
Remote control is one of our priority features. They're working on it.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that is in the roadmap.
Okay. If a teacher forgets to push stop on a session, is there a way to override that?
So you're talking about it, say maybe they have the attention screen up and the student leaves?
I didn't catch that. I just read it for what it was there.
Okay. Well, so typically in a school environment, you know, that does happen occasionally. But what you're primarily talking about is like maybe when they leave the school, if you don't want them to have like a web filter applied to a student when they have the device at home. Our software stops connecting as soon as they leave the network environment. So
Right.
any features we have running against them will immediately unapply themselves, and they'll be able to use the internet, or the screen will unlock once they've left the network.
Okay. I'm starting to get a lot of the questions would be referring to, you mentioned one of it says, I'll just read it for what it is and go from there. Why is it set up so students have to accept in order for teachers to view their screen? And I think you covered that, but you want to amplify a little bit on
Yeah,
that.
so our software runs kind of like how you see a system service run in Windows. So it runs automatically when you start, and Google requires anytime you actually see a device in a Google Chromebook environment that you get permission from them. Even their own software does that. So if you look at the remote control solution or anything like that, you have to grant permission every single time you want to see the screen. Um, Again, when you look at a lot of our competitors, they're not actually seeing the full screen. They're only seeing the Chrome window and whatever the student's doing inside the Chrome browser. We're going to be adding that functionality as well on top of this, so you'll be able to see what they're doing in the browser regardless of whether they accept the prompt or not.
Okay, I think that was uh, the other questions would be, as you mentioned, a new version, and so they were interested in the next, when is the next version, and what's it going to have in it.
So we release versions fairly regularly, about every 2 weeks or so. And they automatically deploy through your Google for Accounts for Education domain. The next version that I'm aware of has some communication changes, and then it's going to have, like I talked about, when you apply a filter, it's going to show you what sites that you can actually go to.
Good, good. Um, I was I was reading a longer question here, so that's why I was pausing there. Um, if a student is in a house discipline and enrolled in a regular class as well as in the house class, home class or house class, are the students offered the option to which class he or she will actually attend? I think that has to do more with Google Classroom, doesn't it, Dean?
Uh, yes and
Yes.
no, both actually. So we're actually going to be introducing a feature that's specifically kind of designed for this sort of thing. So in a future update, I don't know the exact timing on it, we're going to have the ability to dismiss students. So if you have a student who's at a place where you want to connect, but they're not part of their regular classroom and their regular classroom is actually going, the teacher who regularly would have them will be able to dismiss them, and then the other teacher will be able to pick them up.
Awesome, awesome. I want to clarify one of the things about somebody asked, and it again, it's that just I think some of the people can't hear your answers. So you were able to view the screen and talking about controlling the screen. That's a next release. So and more of that what we were talking about, the uh, remote access.
That's correct.
Okay. Um, okay. Can I? I'm trying to see any more that have come in. Um, I think that was about. Okay. Do the new versions change the format layout for teachers out for the teacher user? And I think what you're saying right now is that you can rearrange the teacher screen all you want. So um, I guess they're asking are you looking into doing anything else for the teacher enhancements, maybe that your input from the teachers are that you're getting?
So we're always looking for more input on how to add new features or implement better versions of the current features. We are going to be adding a few new buttons, of course, as we add new features. And then there's going to be a online component that's going to allow to move some of the administration tasks to the cloud so that you can do that outside of the class, like setting up web filters and things like that.
But I would add that in terms of just the class configuration, as we said, you can rearrange them any way you want. So maybe you put the kids who need the most attention, if you will, at the top, or you can actually tell the program to just sort them alphabetically. You have, I think, a choice of like 3 sizes. There's like a small, medium, and large in terms of how big you want each of these panes, these thumbnails, if you will, to be. And as we said, every time you rearrange in a particular class, the software will save it for that class, so that your seating arrangement for your Biology 1 class will always appear the way you left it.
Awesome. Yeah, I would say that we've gotten quite a few of conversations or questions around that, just the teacher's look. And I think that's something, as you deal with this product with teachers, I imagine it gets sharper and sharper of what they want. There's another question that says, in the passive content filter included with this, i.e. filtering a student while not on site. And I think you answered that one, Dean.
Yeah, that's correct. None of our features will apply unless you're actively connected to the class. So as soon as you disconnect from your network, they'll revert to not being blocked, or none of the features are applied.
Okay. There came a question here. It says, are there any workarounds for the software? And I just, a heads up, I tried to break in your code while we were demoing it back a while ago, and I did all my hacking and I couldn't get through. But I guess that is a question. Nobody's hacked through it yet.
Yeah, we haven't had any reports of that. I mean, the only thing that we've really run into is in environments where you allow them to switch login or do like no login user. Since everything in Chrome is user-based, obviously you won't be able to view the computer while they're logged in as someone else.
Okay. The only other one would be and I'm sure that Stephanie will let everybody know, but this is being recorded and you can get it from our website, but I'll let Stephanie amplify that. There was a few questions there. Other than that, I don't see any more. They're pretty much around the same thing. Probably the last part of it is any comparisons with what's out there and what in that. I get a couple questions that way, but other than that, I think you can let Stephanie, you clean it up, but I think we're pretty much there on the questions.
So this is Pam. Let me talk a little bit about, how you would look at this compared to what else is out there. As we've talked about already, and it is the reason that the students have to grant permission, one of the unique features of Vision is that it will show you the entire screen and not just the active tab that the student is using. And why that's important is there are things students can do outside a browser. So while Chromebooks were designed primarily to be used in a Chrome browser, there are games that students can download that will open in a separate window. If you're not monitoring the entire screen, you will never see that. To you, it will just look like the kid is still in whatever active browser tab he was in before. Kids can also download, you can download videos and play those outside the browser. And I believe that any of the Android apps, when they finally do get here for Chromebooks, will run outside the browser. So all of those things will not be visible if you're not showing the entire screen, which is why we chose to program it that way. Other things to note are when we use the attention function and block the student's screen, because we are at the whole screen level, we don't just block the tab that's active, we block everything. The student can't use the keyboard, they can't input, they can't change anything. So it truly is a lockdown function and a great way to make class transition times that much more seamless, because the kids have to pay attention to you. And I think the last one that I would bring up for now would be the ability to actually share the teacher screen to the student screens. That is something that we programmed in because it's an often request feature, and that we feel is also unique to our product.
Okay, one last question that came in, and I'll let it put my microphone down and say it. When you do the updates and it changes, they were concerned that the teacher would be thrown off with how much the menu changes in that. So they're looking for how will the teacher be educated with the new changes when they come about.
Usually we're doing something in the UI that will at least alert them that there is something new up there. We generally are pretty incremental on some of our changes, so it tends to be something that's only additive and in a way that doesn't necessarily interfere with what the teacher is doing. So we try to make it as seamless as possible. And the nice thing is, because it's a Google environment, we're constantly updating and improving the software, and you get those updates automatically because it's all pushed through the Google app ecosystem.
Yeah, that's one of the nice things about pushing updates as often as we do is it's not going to be like a major rollout of a huge number of features. Typically, since we're doing these every couple of weeks with bug fixes and or minor features, the UI changes very slowly, just every now and then.
Hi there. Oh, I didn't want to interrupt if you're still finishing. This is Stephanie. But I did see another question that I wanted to clarify with you guys. The recording, we are recording this webinar, but I think there's a teacher that wants to know if the sessions are recorded on Netop Vision, so a teacher can go back at a later time and see what the student activity was during a certain time.
So there's no recording of anything built into Vision. All of the stuff could be recorded with the third-party software, of course.
It is something that we're looking at. That is something that does get requested, but it's not in the software at this point in time.
Okay, that's good to know, because that sounds like that would be a feature some teachers might be interested in. But this has been a great overview. What I appreciate is, how simple the interface looks. There's not really a lot of buttons to push. You just kind of see everything laid out. And I haven't seen any further questions either. Is there anything else that you'd like to add?
No, I think at this point, we could go back and I'll just do, not that, I think we can sum up with this screen, which kind of recaps some of the things that I'd said before. But really it's about making it simple to use for the teachers, because there's so many things that they have to deal with in their day, and a tool isn't useful unless it's something that they can learn quickly and easily. So we'll send out some summary information afterwards that recaps some of the features and how they can be used, but hopefully you've seen in a pretty short experience how you could instantly apply some of this to your daily use in the classroom.
I think definitely. Yeah, I want to thank both of you for your time. I'm going to go ahead and take the screen back so I can show a closing slide, and then I will let everyone know via a follow-up email about some web links if they're interested in going and getting a trial and kind of experimenting with this. We have some web links for you. So let's see. Hopefully everybody can see my slide now. And this is my email and Dean's email for questions. This link, actually, I'm going to email everybody one specific. No, this is the correct link. Pardon me. I forgot which webinar I was in for a moment. So this will be emailed out, and you can get a certificate of completion. There's a brief survey involved. So we really appreciate everyone taking the time today to present, Pam and Dean and our audience, for having so many good questions. And we will follow up so that you can test this out a little bit if you'd like to. So I think that's the conclusion of the webinar. On behalf of CTL, I hope everyone has a great rest of your day, and we'll see you on the next webinar. Thanks, everyone.